All right. Let me log into my YouTube and do a sound check real quick. Make sure this sounds all right. Sounds like me. Good enough. All right. Oh, what happened? Did I lose it? There we go. All right. Let's give some folks some time to file in. I forgot that I was going to jot down a note to myself before I hit to go live. So let me do that real fast. This is my little log of topics I might want to talk about here and there. Oh, we already talked about that. There we go. All right, we got 19 in the house, y'all. So I'm back on the tethered lapel mic this evening. Like I said, I think I'm going to go back and forth with that shotgun mic versus the lapel mic. Hollywood Briar, welcome. Who else we got? Hot Rod Bob, what's up? AZ Hawk 516. Freak Piper Skip, Corn Freak. What's up? Well, I already said what's up. Rock Rider, Dr. Davey. All right. Mr. Tolson, y'all are all filing in now. So, let me pour my beverage for the evening while I'm thinking about what pipe to use. I think I've decided, but I'm not 100% on the subject at the moment. Got some of my favorite beer here, the Elysian Space Dust IPA. Very nice. All right, so I should have checked to see if I had this shape available right now, but been reaching for the 642 unfinished Savinelli pretty good bit recently. So I think I'll load this up. Throw in a 9mm pipe filter here. And I'm going to load up some San Sepolcro this evening. Been smoking through this at a pretty good clip, about at the halfway mark. I don't have any haunted bookshop open at the moment, so this has kind of filled that gap in the tobacco rotation. Yeah, Hollywood Briar. I went on Etsy and found a pipe cabinet maker. I'm pretty sure it's the same pipe cabinet maker that made Match's pipe cabinet. It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty close. I went with a Peterson pipe filter this evening, but they're really interchangeable to me. The Petersons and the Stanwells and the Sabanellis and the White Elephants. Actually, the Stanwells still have the tiniest edge for me, but you know, I just grab them randomly. They all work. They all work well. So. What's up? Are you asking me about those pipes? If so, I mean, I appreciate it, but if they're not filtered, I'm not gonna, I've got plenty of non-filtered pipes right now that I rarely smoke, so I would pass on them. Just because, like you, I'm smoking primarily 9mm filtered pipes. But I've heard of Barling pipes, of course, but I'm not familiar with the other one. Bule? Yeah, Hollywood Briar. This Sanzapocro, if I recall, yeah, is got about a year's age on it. Just under a year. I'm reaching all over the place for everything. I don't have myself quite together yet. Welcome, Utah Piper. Oh, I gotcha. What's up? Absolutely. Yeah, the Sanzapocro at close to the year mark has an aged Virginia kind of smell to the tin. So, let's see what I've got going on as far as my notes this evening. I did get one email from last week's request for information for any of you who may have found insurance on the open market, health insurance, that's friendly or at least not scathingly against pipe smokers. I'm still on the hunt. I appreciate the one email I did get with a contact name and number, and I will be reaching out to that agent, that insurance agent. But I want to get at least 3 quotes from 3 different agents. So if anybody else has anyone that they're happy with, let me know. Yeah, I know what you mean, Hollywood Briar, about the Sands of Pokro. Like sometimes by the end of the bowl, my head is swimming, and then other times it's okay, and I can't figure out what the differences are. Steph and Skip, welcome. 43 in the house now. Is Boca on here? Boca de Boynton? No Boca. All right. Well, let's see what else I got to chat about. This is just a quick something I wanted to talk about either last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. I was wearing my Atari t-shirt, and I thought, well, maybe I'll talk about video game consoles that I've owned in the past. That's good for 3 to 5 minutes, probably. Unless the chat blows up with it. But being 46 and born in 1975, my first video game console was early on. It was a Atari 2600. We had it in the living room, hooked up to the old family TV. The kind that sat on the floor, you know what I mean? It was basically a piece of furniture, even though it wasn't that big. I think it was a 26-inch television, but it was built into a cabinet. But I played a bunch of Atari 2600 back in my day. I had a friend that I would go spend the night with who had a Commodore 64. Played some kind of text-based Amazon adventure game. I cannot remember what it was called. Very few visuals, but there were some digital artwork here and there. Hollywood Briar, I am playing Call of Duty on Xbox. I've moved on to Cold War, Black Ops Cold War, which I didn't care for at the beginning on the free weekends for the betas, but I went ahead and bought it, and I don't go back to Modern Warfare anymore. Very rarely. Yeah, my dad, maybe not my mom, but my dad played some Atari back in the day. Hollywood Briar, my tag is Haunted Tank, I believe. I think there's a space in there. Blue collar pipe smoker. No, I don't think that was it. I don't think that was it. I had an Amiga when I was a kid, but we didn't buy hardly any games for it. And the ones we had I thought were pretty janky compared to the next console I got, which was the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now I had a Nintendo from that came out in '85, so I was probably 11 when I got it. And I played that right through my middle school years. Then in high school, I just didn't have time to play a whole lot of video games. Played a little bit, but still, it was NES. I never bought a Super Nintendo. Never bought a Sega Genesis, although I would go to a buddy's house and play his. Never bought an N64. And didn't buy a PlayStation, although in college I had a roommate who had a PlayStation. So I played and fell in love with the original Resident Evil on the PlayStation. But after the Nintendo Entertainment System, I didn't have a new console until the Nintendo GameCube came out, and like I probably picked mine up in like '03. So there was a good 10 to 15 years there I didn't have any consoles to speak of. Since then, I've had the PS2, PS3, the Wii U, original Xbox, Xbox 360, and now I have an Xbox One. And I still buy games for pretty much all of them here and there. I don't have a crazy huge collection, but, you know, it's a decent little media library there. Man, it's getting warm in here. I might have to kick on my air conditioner. Such a strange time of year for here. It's 75 degrees in here. Which in the summer I would be so thankful for 75 degrees, but it's been so cool lately. This is positively warm. Yeah, that's me. Guy with a top hat. Yep. Bill joins, are Mortabago pipes as good as they say? Depends on who they are and how good they say they are. I have three mortar pipes, and I do enjoy them all. The break-in period's kind of strange. Your first few smokes are gonna, at least in my experience, are gonna smell kind of funny and taste kind of funny. But after that, they smoke really, really well. I can't say that they smoke any better than Briar, though. I just think they're an interesting material with a cool story. And I would say that I can favorably compare them to Briar. Full House Poker, Reese. I don't recall Full House Poker, but there was another poker themed game on the Xbox 360 that I played. Oh, it was called Poker Smash. It was basically a matching game, but It was kind of like poker meets Tetris. I had a lot of fun with that one. Eric Olivar, how does that work? You using a Blizzard ID for Call of Duty Warzone? I've been out of the PC Master Race for quite some time now. So does Blizzard have a platform where you can purchase other makers games, developers games, publishers games? If so, I was totally unaware of that. But I play on my Xbox. It is multi-plat though. Humdrum. Hey there. Texas Piper, I've bent a couple of forever stems myself by floating them in water in like a glass container and heating them up to the boiling point, and then very tenderly taking them out, running a pipe cleaner through them, because of course you don't want to nuke the pipe cleaner, and then use that pipe cleaner to keep the airway open while you slowly bend it. It worked for me, but you know, I can't vouch for how safe it is. Yeah, Tolson, I just microwaved my water, but I guess you could use boiling water directly, just pour it over it. But I just nuked the stems with the water. And that wasn't an original idea. I think I got that from Scott at Aristocob. Made a video about it years ago. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think that's where I got it. At this point, all the pipe presenters and videos I've seen over the past 6 or 7 years have just all bled together. Oh, I see. So use the Blizzard gamer tag for crossplay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Scott D, you know, I never got a Game Boy. Never got the original Game Boy when it came out. Didn't get a Game Boy Color. Didn't get a Game Boy Advance. Didn't get a Nintendo DS. I always wanted to play on a TV. But in the last three years or so, I bought a Nintendo 3DS. that is kind of fun, but I rarely play it. Elder Scrolls 6, I haven't heard anything about it. I did enjoy Elder Scrolls 3. I didn't get into Skyrim as much as everybody else. And I wasn't really a fan of Elder Scrolls 4 all that much, but 3 was great, 5 was, pretty good. So yeah, I'd be excited about an Elder Scrolls 6 for next gen. That would be great. Sorry, what's up? I'll change the subject in a minute. I guess we're beyond our 3 to 5 minute estimate. But you're never too old for games. Um, I just taught my kids how to play spades the other night. I'd like to get a family card night going. And it took them a while, particularly my middle child. I thought her brain was going to explode when I was trying to explain how to play spades, but we got through it, and now they're all asking about it again. So hopefully Friday or this weekend sometime we'll have another spades night. One of my best friends, though, when people ask him, he doesn't like video games at all. Doesn't play at all, never has. He always says, I got no time for games. I quit school because of recess. Pipecast, welcome. Oh, where'd you go? Pipecast by Rivermont Studios. Glad you're liking that Rossi 8320. TN Kenny. Bogota Boynton. The Like Police. Boca, I got your package, so thank you. The Eagle has landed. I was waiting to see you on here to let you know. Donald, I would say that's sage advice. Don't do what Eddie Don't does, and boil your water first, kids. Then pour it over your acrylic stems. I didn't ruin any of my acrylic stems that I bent that way. I think I did 3 of them, but I did drop one of them at a later time and it shattered. Could have been a coincidence, or it could have been that microwave session could have been the reason for that. Nice, Piper said. Cedric, right? If you like the gentleman collar, you may want to try the crooner. People have a favorite. Between the two, mine is the crooner because it's a little more burly rich and a little less of the deer tongue, but you can definitely tell it's still there. The gentleman collar to me is just a little too much deer tongue. But everybody's taste is different. Tobacco to Sweden. I don't ship tobacco internationally at the moment, but I will ship pipes and accessories out to you. You'll have to send me an email with what you want to purchase, and I can send you an invoice. And we'll do it off the website like that. You know, I never bet on spades. When it came time to play cards and bet, I always played Texas Hold'em. That's actually how I bought my PlayStation 2 Slim. Was we played a Christmas game, me and 4 other guys. That was the most high stakes I ever played. Was everybody put in $50. So I, walked away with 150 that night. Um, I'll tell you why I'll tell you why Spades is my favorite card game. I have an emotional attachment to it. When I was in college, or not college, when I was in high school, I was in the agriculture classes at my high school. They had like ag vocational type classes. And I took Ag 1, Ag 2, horticulture, and forestry. And yes, I was a member of the FFA. And no, I did not buy the jacket because it was just not metal. But I had some friends in the ag program, and they were rednecks. These good old boys. And they always thought I was kind of an oddity because I was an honor student, not into football, loved metal music, didn't like country music. And didn't really have a southern accent, although back in high school I could kind of turn it on and off. But I was born in Ohio and grew up there until I was 3, which you wouldn't think would have as much of an effect, but my parents didn't really have a southern accent either. So, but anyway, I think it was my senior year of high school, I had 2 periods of forestry. And they spent a lot of time making, we weren't really learning forestry stuff for a lot of that time. The teacher oversaw a small group of the class making wooden picnic tables that then we sold and raised money for the FFA. So 4 of us got around to playing spades in the classroom while half the people, in the class were outside making the picnic tables. The other half was either us playing spades or people just using it as a study hall. But I played at least 1 period of spades almost for half the year that year. And I can remember one day, guy's name, I'm not going to, well, I'll just tell you. I'm sure he's retired now, but his name was Mr. Wood, if you can believe that. Mr. Wood was my forestry teacher. And he came into the class and went through his desk looking for keys or something. And we were in there playing spades. And we had all this slang terminology and stuff that we had kind of made up for our own game. But he came in, he was like, why don't you boys come on out and maybe you learn some forestry? And I didn't even look up. I was slinging cards and stuff, and I was like, didn't even think about it before I said it. I was like, well, if you ever teach any forestry, you let us know. And I said it just deadpan. And the other 3 guys I was playing with were just like, what did he just say? I mean, it got real quiet and real tense all of a sudden. And I looked up, I could tell there was like a tonal change in the room. And then I realized what I said to a teacher, and I looked over at Mr. Wood, and he was just staring me down. And he didn't say a word, and then he just turned and walked out. And everybody was just like, I cannot believe you said that, Eddie. And I can't believe, to this day, I can't believe I said it either. Because I wasn't that guy. Never got sent to the principal's office or anything like that. But he never bothered us again about spades, so we just kept playing. There was one day when whoever was supposed to bring the deck of cards that day didn't. And we usually had a spare deck. I don't know what happened, but we spent the first period making a deck of cards out of loose leaf paper. And then the second period, we played with these Flintstone cards that we had folded up over each other and stapled together. It was ridiculous. It was like we were addicted to spades. Mm-hmm. You know, I paid for a premium Zoom account and still have, I've only used it once for I think it was for the Matches tribute Halloween live stream. I need to get on that horse, but I just haven't had time to schedule people to be on it with me. It's been half a year. Wasted that money. I think my wife is home. Reese, my dad grew up all over the place. He lived in Puerto Rico for a while and Chattanooga. Wound up here in Pensacola, like 1918. Not 1918. When he was 18 years old, he wound up here. Met my mom. She grew up here. Her parents were from Alabama. I don't know how my mom doesn't have a southern accent, but she really doesn't. But no, they just kind of got married and took a jaunt up to Ohio for 3 years and then moved back. 3 or 4 years. Me and Chad may as well be cousins. We got a pretty good bit in common. Well, let's see. What else I got to talk about? We don't have a ton more time. So every now and then, I'll switch to music. Specifically metal music. Sorry guys if you're not into metal, but every now and then I'll find a band that's been around for a very long time, and I'm talking decades, that I didn't know about. Like the shirt I'm wearing. Oh, I probably just hit the mic. But this is a shirt for Amorphous, which is a band that's been around since the early 90s. And I didn't find out about them until a couple of years ago. Let's see. Badger Ash, have a good night. But I found another band I'd never really listened to that's been around since the mid 80s. They're a Japanese band, so a lot of their lyrics are in Japanese, but their music is incredible. And it's not Loudness. I knew about Loudness. It's not EZO. I knew about them. Listen to both of those bands. This is a band called Anthem. And Anthem has had many, many albums since the mid-80s up until today. I think their last one came out, and I don't think it's their last one they're going to make. Their latest one came out in like 2019, I think. But they've had some changes through the years, but I mean, if you like Judas Priest, if you like European metal, if you like even some bands kind of that are hook driven, like Dokken, it's like, to me, it's like those three bands kind of mixed together. Very cool band if you guys have never checked out Anthem. And they had a guest singer on one album that's in all English. They came out in 2000. I think it's called Heavy Metal Anthem or something like that. Oh, what was that guy's name that sang on that? I'm pretty sure he sang for Rainbow. He sang for an album of Impellitteri. His name is on the tip of my tongue. What's up? Have a good evening. Or a good midnight. What is that guy's name? I want to say Bon Scott. But that is not right. Graham Bonnet. Graham Bonnet sang as a guest singer for a full album for Anthem back in 2000. Rick Allen, send me an email and we'll see what that is. It's probably because you live in one of the 4 states that I can't ship tobacco to. But send me an email. I can send you an invoice for anything else you'd want to purchase. So here's a non-metal music recommendation for you guys. If you like 80s pop, new wave, synth pop, that kind of stuff. Thompson Twins, Duran Duran, Men at Work, Mr. Mr., Aha. Along those lines, there's a band called Ice House. And Ice House made a bunch of good albums, but there's one standout album from Ice House that I just can't get away from after all these years. I think it came out in 1987. And I shared it with my teenage daughter recently, and she loves it. I hear her singing it every now and then, some of the songs. But it's called Man of Colors from, I think, 1987. You guys check that out. That's what it is. Rick, it's because you're in Florida and I'm in Florida, and there's the tobacco surtax for in-state sales that we have to deal with, and I just won't play ball with that. There's no point, because you can buy from other online vendors and they don't charge that. So I just can't compete with it. Plantation, Florida. I have to look up where that is exactly. I'm in basically the northwestern tip of Florida in what they call the Panhandle. So you probably live 7 to 10 hours away from me. Florida's a bigger state than most people realize. Cliff. Fashionably late, sir. Oh, sorry to hear about the flat tire, man. Delta Force is doing good. She's not out here in the West Parlor with me today. The kids didn't like that I had her out here last Wednesday, because they're at school all day, and when they get home, they want to pet that dog. So I left her in the house today. A little south of Boynton. Getting aware this doesn't want to stay lit. Let me try to get some ash out of here. So this will probably be the last topic I'll throw out, but this is one I was thinking about today. We got a lot of age groups here, so we'll probably get a lot of different answers to this, but what was your favorite car in high school? Not the one you had, but what was your favorite car in high school that you really wanted that you didn't have? And then what car did you actually have? It's been a few years since I thought about my dream car back in high school, but because I don't see them on the road anymore. They still make it, but they don't make, it doesn't look anywhere near the same. They still make the model. But I was in high school from 89 to 93, and my favorite car back then that I just wanted so bad was a 87, 88, 89 Honda Prelude. I just thought that car looked so sick. It was small. It was pretty peppy, or at least you could get it pretty peppy. It was super angular. Like, I mean, kind of like a tiny DeLorean meets a tiny Lamborghini or something. In my mind, anyway. I saw Magnum PI driving that Ferrari growing up, and that was a sweet car, but pretty much knew a Ferrari wasn't in the cards for me. But that Prelude was just out of reach. But I always wanted that Prelude. And by the time I could afford one, it was 20 years old. And all the ones I could find were junked out, tore up. But the car I had was it was still a small two-door coupe, but it was a 1978 Dodge Colt. Nothing angular about that car. It was just a little boxy car with still had the round headlight cutouts, Nothing like the Honda Prelude. Scott Myers, 1966 Chevelle. And had a 74 Nova. Well, that ain't a bad car. I don't think. Didn't have bucket seats though, did it? It had like the bench seats. Probably vinyl. Olds 442. Nice. Wanted a 72 El Camino, but had an 81 El Camino. That's another recommendation for you guys. If you were fans of Breaking Bad, which to me, that's one of the best television shows of all time, and you haven't seen El Camino, on Netflix, you should look that up. It's a good afterthought kind of extension to Jesse's story from Breaking Bad. Wanted a Firebird like the Bandit. Had a 72 Chevy pickup. I see those old Ford and Chevy pickups from the 70s and early 80s. Still on the road today, though. Those were some workhorses. I change out my filter every time. I use a new filter with every smoke. That's just me. You could get 2 or 3 smokes out of one if you dry it out in between. But I just prefer to get a new one every time. One of the 75 Cutlass Supreme had a 68 Opel Kadett. What? Rally Edition? Well, we are closing in on an hour. We're down to 33 now, but I'm towards the end of my bowl here. So we'll be wrapping up in just a minute or two. Let's see. Cliff, you're only smoking a filtered pipe 50% of the time? I thought you were higher than that. That surprises me, sir. Oh, that's right. You have more artisan pipes than I do. Chad, honestly, I wish I could. I wish that wasn't a hang up that I had, but I would burn my tongue every time without a filter if I'm not careful. And these days I'm smoking 3 to 5 bowls a day. Couldn't do that unfiltered. All right, we are on the hour mark. So we're going to call it an evening, you guys. I've got some frozen pizzas in my future. Tombstones, of course. Or as we started calling them, freezy peasies. But I will do my best to be back on Wednesday Night Lights next Wednesday. I may change the time to 5 Central, which would be 6 Eastern. I've been starting at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central, but I wind up eating cold pizza, and Wednesday's pizza night, so I think I'm going to change it to 6 Eastern Time. If I do that, I'll do my best to try to let Phil know at Briar Report so he can update the calendar. All right, you guys. We're going to call it. Thanks for hanging out tonight, and we'll chat with you again soon. Oh, thanks, Phil. Save me an email, buddy. We'll see y'all.